Thanks very much for being here with us today. The session is basically called Next Gen of Business and building more than just wealth, and you perhaps are the perfect example of that. And I want to begin by relating a very small anecdote to our audience here and those who are watching us. At the age of 17, to think and execute a plan to do microfinance of all things. How did that happen? Because at 17, there are perhaps many other pursuits to chase in life.
Firstly, thank you so much, India Today, for having me here. This means so much. It's been a couple of years now, so it feels good. Lovely chatting with you, Siddharth. Yeah, thank you for that question. I think, at 17, there were a couple of different things that triggered is the wrong word, that motivated me to start Swatantra. I think from a very young age, I've had a lot of guilt of being born in privilege. And I wanted to do something by myself to make myself feel like I'm worth it. Right? I think it was coming from that place as well. I wanted to do something to bridge the gap. I was born in so much privilege, and then across the street, a girl didn't have anything to eat or wear. And my brain at that age just could not understand how that is okay. And so I wanted to do, so basically financial inclusion. And then from a very young age, coming from a Marwadi background and just looking around, being a curious mind, I realized that if a woman is not financially independent, she's either before she's married, she's either under the thumb of her father and then her husband. She really can't make too many choices of her own. She doesn't have that independence. So I wanted to do something to contribute to that as well. And microfinance just seemed to fit that bill for everything across the board. So it was a very, very bold move that I made. Didn't have much support at that time, and rightfully so. I don't know if I would have supported me looking now back. But it's turned out we're the second largest now in the country, with since disbursement 60,000 crore AUM. So, I mean, it's been a journey, and that's the story of Swatantra.
It clearly must have been a tough journey, because microfinance is not an easy sector to do. It sounds easy, but it's far more difficult, and I've personally reported on that. I want to add this element of the age that you started and you parallelly pursued music. Now, how does that happen together? Because for you, you're a serious musician, without doubt. How did both of them come together?
That's a very good question. I think I can't go to bed at night if I don't live an authentic life. I think it's very important for me to live an authentic life. And, we're just here once. It's the same person, but they're just two different facets, I would say. And it's a very important part of me. It's a huge form of expression. So it started with a love for poetry, which turned into songwriting when I picked up the guitar. And I realized that this is so cathartic that I can just stand here and express how I feel. And it's totally normal to feel a particular way. It's just something that I knew was part of my destiny. I knew that I would not have a very linear path. And it was just a question of, okay, is this something that I want to take up or not? And again, it's been a roller coaster. And I decided, look, you only live once. And if my music can impact even one person, and even if one person can feel like they're not alone, I'm going to do it. That's basically what it is. And
that's a good point. And I see shades of spirituality in your answer. So I'm going to ask you, what does faith mean to you? What does God mean to you?
So I have a tattoo that says God here on my hand.
I noticed that.
I'm not consciously spiritual or anything, and I have a long way to come. I'm a very flawed, imperfect person. But I have an innate faith that if we all, or whoever, I'm just going to say I, because I speak for myself. if I work hard with good intention and have a clear vision, there's no reason why something will not work out. And if something doesn't work out, then it's the universe's plan, which will always be better than my plan. And that's how I function. Every day, I come from a place of everything that's happening is happening for me, not against me. It's like when you're inside a maze, you can't see the way out. But that's the whole, that it's fun, right? The part is to get through the maze. So if you go out, if you zoom out and take a bird's eye view, then you can kind of see, okay, there was a plan all along. So this is the belief, the faith that I have, and I think that's the best way I can explain faith to you, what it means to me.
Is there an instance that you can relate to us here that's deeply personal, but you can go public with it, of where you really felt that at a crunch time, your faith worked for you?
I mean, Swatantra, for example, because we started on that topic, right? It's seen, the industry has seen some massive lows, and we have come out stronger every time. So if you just look at the crisis, the microfinance crisis that happened right now, firstly, if we hadn't acquired Chaitanya when we did, Chaitanya would have shut down, because that's what happened with their parent company. So there would have been no Chaitanya. So obviously, because of the scale that we are at right now, we were able to manage. We are one of the only MFIs actually that's still very, very profitable. We've maintained our ROI, we've maintained our OPEX through a very, very rough time. Now, something like that is, I feel like it is got to do with more than just what is in front of the eyes. I don't know how to explain this. Or I'll give you another example. When I got into music, right, there was this whole thing. It's my own inner conflict. Will people take me less seriously as a business person? Right? Naturally, because we're not used to seeing someone running a really serious, large financial services company successfully, that to a woman who is a young woman, and then seeing that same woman on stage belting out a pop song, that to an English R&B pop song. And I happen to do both. Now, if I do it successfully or not, that's a different topic. But the point is I happen to do both. So, does that already put me on a back foot where people won't take me seriously in both? But somehow it's worked out in my favor. Again, because I've had good intentions in both. And I've really worked hard on my skill sets in both. So whether that is my morning riyaz, then I'm in office from doing my meetings from 9 to 9, then I'm in studio after that from 9:30 to 2 a.m., which means I don't have a social life and I don't sleep much. So it takes a lot of effort, but I love it. I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, I think if you truly dil se do something and you really want to do something, the universe kind of just makes it happen.
Okay. What's tougher, since you described your very grueling daily schedule, what's tougher, making music or poring over balance sheets and ensuring that there is enough return on investment?
I mean, ROI is everywhere. It's in my music as well, right? At the end of the day, I'm a Marwadi. That's in my blood. What is tougher? I think it's very contextual. Mm-hmm. So, for example, but it's also very, very enjoyable. I would not have it any other way. I'm not the kind of girl or human being who wants to sit at home and not do anything. I cannot be still for too long, which has its own negative impacts, but it's fine. I'm young. I'm working through it. So, for example, in studio, you have to be vulnerable. Or I believe in that. So every song I have written so far, the new songs I am writing, I have written to release soon, are all from experiences.
And from the heart. And
from the heart, right? Mm. And from the soul, really. Now you have to open up about your entire life to your co-writers, to your producers. So it becomes like a mini therapy session with people who are not therapists. So that can be uncomfortable sometimes, yes. Right? So you have to have that sense of vulnerability. So that could be hard. Obviously, when it comes to music, it's much more. It's your face out there. That comes with other pressures. In the business world, being a woman, being the first woman in a legacy of only men, who's working in the family business, who's also started her own businesses, being taken seriously, especially when I have this other facet of mine as well. Having to manage teams. I'm very lucky I have great teams across the board. But it's a continuous thing, right? It's a 24/7 thing. It's just running a business is 24/7, 365 days, 366, depending if it's a leap year or not. So it really, I don't know which one's harder. It really depends. It's like asking me to choose between my mom and my dad.
The very important point about working hard, and in the context of the controversy we saw when Mr. Narayan Murthy exhorted people to work much harder, that's a very good point. But I want to ask you, what does it mean to be a Birla? Because it's not just a business legacy, it's not a massive mega billion-dollar corporation. By the way, one of the largest Indian investors in the United States is the Aditya Birla Group.
The largest.
The largest. And in the context of what's happening, I think that's a very important point to note. But what does it mean to be a Birla? Because your wider family, that surname is associated with our freedom struggle as well.
Yeah. What does it mean to be a Birla? I think, at the end of the day, everyone sitting here, what does it mean to be your parents' son or daughter? It's literally the same thing. I want to make my parents proud. Yes, there are more eyeballs on me, I would say. But even
just eyeballs or pressure?
It's self-induced pressure, right?
Okay.
So I can choose. Let's say let's say we were having an interview and it's going very pleasantly. Let's say it wasn't going pleasantly, and I've had interviews like that. And let's say you were putting pressure on me or you were asking me some questions. It's on me on how I want to take it, right?
Yes.
It's about how I react to a situation. So I would say it's all self-induced. Initially, that pressure was humongous. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I still do. But that's just because I have a inner critic that wants to do better, that wants to be a better person, that wants to be a better business person, that wants to be a better artist. But none of that comes from anybody external or from my family at all. Yes, I'm aware that there are more eyeballs on me. Yes, I'm extremely aware that one wrong step and it could have a repercussion on 5 to 6 generations before me. And that's something I do not take lightly at all. So yes, that pressure, of course, that's there without question.
But Ananya, would that pressure mean, and because you spoke about the legacy, does that mean that you are less willing to fail? Because part of business and entrepreneurship particularly is that you fail, you learn, you iterate, reiterate, and get on with life.
No, you have to fail. The success and failure are two sides of the same coin. My parents say this to me all the time. The point
Where did you fail? Sorry, I interrupted you. Where did you fail?
I fail on a daily basis, I'm telling you. I literally fail on a daily basis. It's about how you react and how you learn from that failure. I don't know how to give you instances. I have failures all the time. That could be, for one, I'm really bad with time management, for example. My meetings run over. I'm stuck in traffic. Right now I have a slip disc.
You're not alone. If I were to ask people to raise hands, this entire hall would go up. But
so there are tons of things I need to work on. Okay. But I would say that those are areas of, it's a white space.
Okay.
It's areas of growth, and I have a long way to go. So I fail on a daily basis. I rise on a daily basis. I fail again, I rise again. And that's like a heartbeat is also like that, right? It's kind of just the way it works.
Yeah. Okay, I want to explore your management style and what you have learned from the family and what you have done yourself, the innovation or the changes that you have brought about. If you could flesh it out for us.
So that's very interesting because I think, we live in a world where now, which Papa didn't have to deal with. I call it open, it's an open community. With social media coming in, with IoT coming in, we are all much more connected. We can put opinions out there much more. So we are having to deal with things differently because now we have contact with each other in a different way. Which means that now that whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whatever it may be, there's more out there, which means that there are more opinions, which means that it can all be much messier, but it also means that there's that much more potential to build a stronger, loyal base. Whether that is with your team, stronger relations with your team, whether that is with your consumers, whether that is with your partners. Now the question here, which I think my dad's generation as businessmen didn't even have, is how do you choose to show up in an open community? Now you can either show up as someone because this is curated reality, right? You don't really know what's going on in my home. Yeah. You can be relatable, you can be aspirational. I have chosen, my team and I have very consciously chosen to take the authentic route.
Would I be right in describing what you just said, to try and capture it
Yes.
in a caption? Crowdsourced management, is that the right?
No, so I'm just getting to it.
Yeah.
So I think, let's say if I had to like really compare, like let's say Papa was sitting here and I was sitting here in my meetings, I think I am much closer to my team, number one. Just because of this, right? We're in communication much more. Because of work from home as well, there's a lot more that I'm working on my phone, on my laptop.
Yeah.
Papa's more, he goes to office. I also go to office, but in person more.
Yeah.
So that's one difference. I'm much closer to my team. Because of the music side, we are personally connected as well. He has more of I'm at work and then I'm at home. I am more of lines are quite blurred. So people I work with have been my friends since many, many years. So that's another difference. I am a bit more informal with the way I conduct certain meetings. He's a bit more formal. I am more authentic with how I present myself to my team. So for example, let's say I have a slip disc, I'll tell them I have a slip disc. My dad wouldn't tell them. What else? For example, for my team and everyone that I work with, we give things like menstruation leave, we give mental health leave. I think for Papa's generation, that was not important at that time. But I would say he is a more disciplined, I think I'm just a not as refined version of him.
Well, that's a very, very...
is how I would put it across. But these are the different... I'm trying to give you differences, very practical differences so the audience can understand. But all of this stems from the fact that I think we're just more open in our generation. And the entire world, right, we're exposed more. The mobile phone came 94, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
And your father, your group has played a stellar role in building Digital Bharat. None of Digital Bharat would have existed had those 3G, 4G, 5G networks not been.
Which is what we spoke about. Yeah, that was very kind of you to say. I'm sure he'll see this, but I'll tell him that you said that.
Okay, as we wind down the conversation, I want you to tell us, what would you like to be remembered as someone who added and created more wealth, or as someone who did something innovative and created scale and a never before kind of event?
I don't know. I don't want to work this out. I don't want to do this backwards. It's never worked for me. I think it's really important for me to do what I'm doing and doing it with all my heart. Of course, ROI is very important. Going beyond ROI is very important. Now, what that leaves people with, I would like to leave that up to people to decide. I think that's only fair. But if there's one thing I would say is, I would like people to say that she made me feel a certain way. I don't know, good or bad. But when you make someone feel a certain way, they don't forget that.
Okay, that's a very good answer. One final question, and I'm fortunate in my job as a journalist to meet lots of next-gen people from business families across sectors. And I have noticed that many people of your generation would rather not slog it out. They would like...
Are you sure?
Yeah, some of them. I
Okay.
don't want to take names.
Yeah, no.
But, you know, they wouldn't want to slog it off. Then they certainly don't want to be, for example, doing darshan at Delhi Darbar, because the way technology has changed the way business, and we have lesser regulations now. And they certainly also may not want to live off their parents' money. Is that something that you see in your cohort, or is your generation as committed to building India and building business as your father or your grandfather's generation?
So from everyone, I'm quite a hermit. Like I'm quite like I told you what my schedule pretty much is like, and then I'm just at home after that. So from the ones I know, everyone's very committed. But having said that, I can only speak for myself. I think Papa was dedicated in a different way. I am dedicated in a different way. I think Dadaji was dedicated in a different way. BK Dadoji was dedicated in a different way. And GD Dadoji was dedicated in a different way. And the world is so different. We are such different personalities. I think the one thing that brings us all together as Birlas are the values that we have. Of honesty, hard work, integrity, of teamwork, of equality. So I think the values bring us together. And but like I said, I just think I'm a Chinese version of my father.
Well, that's certainly a beautiful way to end this
I'm
conversation.
getting looks from my team like, what have you just said? He's just a much better version of me. Like, I don't know, I look up to him. I'm like, okay, I see myself there, but like, you're just so much cooler than I am.
Well, that's a brilliant and beautiful way to bring this conversation to an end. Ananya Birla, thank you very much for being here with us. A round of applause for Ananya Birla.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.